Hello gamers and welcome to HappyGamer Mobile. In this video I wanted to do an update on the whole Mortal Kombat Mobile shutting down situation. You might have seen my video a few days ago saying that Mortal Kombat is shutting down. Well, it was a very likely possibility considering what happened, and I'm not fully convinced that it's not happening yet, but we did get some new information and I wanted to make another video talking about some new information that we got, talking about some of the points that people expressed in the comments, and just having another discussion of this. So first of all, let me just start by saying that situation is not as grim as it initially appeared, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We did get an official message from one of the community managers on the official Discord server, which reads the following. Netherrealm Studio would like to assure all players and fans of our ongoing commitment to Mortal Kombat Mobile and Injustice 2 Mobile. Both games will contribute to have full support. Will continue to have full support. Additionally, we have made the difficult decision to sunset Mortal Kombat Onslaught in the coming months. We are deeply grateful to all the players who have joined us in Mortal Kombat Onslaught journey. Now, this one is not surprising at all. Onslaught was a big fail, probably the biggest fail in the whole Mortal Kombat history. We did get an official message on Onslaught Twitter saying, "We are sorry to inform you that Mortal Kombat Onslaught will close its operations in October. It has been an honor creating this game for our community, and we appreciate the enthusiasm from our fans. In the coming weeks, we will share specific timing of the close of the game." And if you read the comments, most people are not very surprised or upset about it. Biggest fail in MK history. Yes, it is, and it's sad. Now it's on the record. Took everyone's money to shut down the game. I spent a decent chunk of money in Onslaught, but I'm a content creator, so I made that money back from making the videos. But honestly, do I feel like it was worth it? Absolutely not, especially now that the game is closing and there's going to be no refunds. And that's another point that a lot of people mentioned in my previous video, is that if they're going to close the game, they should refund all the money back to the players. Well, that's not how it works. In fact, there is a lot of things that don't work the way you might think they do. You sign terms of services when you open the game for the first time. You have to click accept, and nobody reads those. But those exist for a reason. Those exist to protect the company from pretty much everything, absolutely everything. By clicking that checkbox, you basically sign off absolutely any rights. You're basically signing a contract saying that you don't own anything that you purchase in the game. You're merely renting it while the game is alive. They can terminate your account for any reason with no explanation required. They can close the game. They will, every purchase is final. There is no refunds. Like, all of that is in their terms of services. So it's not illegal for them to decide to shut down their game and keep all the money. And it's not illegal for them to ban your account for any reason, even if it's a false reason. And they don't owe you any explanation, as per their terms of services. There is a lot of other fine print stuff in there, which basically means that if you decide to play, and it's not just Mortal Kombat Mobile, pretty much any game out there, they are gonna make sure to protect themselves legally from absolutely everything in their terms of services. And people don't really read this, so they assume that they own the games. Most games nowadays, you don't even own if you buy them outright. You just own like a right to play them while they're alive. Most of the games nowadays can just decide to shut down their servers, and basically the game will become unplayable. And that's just the reality of it. It's not just HappyGamer Mobile, but I just wanted you to know that there's absolutely nothing they're doing wrong legally. It's their right, it's their game, and once you pay them the money, it's gone. There is no way to get it back legally. Now let's talk about the layoffs. So layoffs did happen. There is a lot of articles hitting mainstream media now about this whole situation, but we haven't had an official reply from Netherrealm themselves, basically saying exactly how many people got laid off, exactly which positions, and exactly what is going to happen to the remaining games. Them saying that there is going to be full support for MK Mobile and Injustice 2 doesn't really mean much when you read the articles when most of their mobile team has been laid off. Over 50 people was fired from only their mobile division. And a lot of people made the point that that's happening throughout the whole country right now. There's a lot of layoffs in tech sector. A lot of gaming studios are closing down. A lot of layoffs is happening in other gaming studios. So that's normal. But you have to admit that it doesn't sound good for MK Mobile when most of the people working in the mobile team of Netherrealm got laid off. They didn't lay off anybody, well, as far as I know, at least not at the same scale, anybody working on the console versions of their games. They laid off their mobile department, and there is a lot of articles surfacing now that Netherrealm is exiting mobile market. Now, from reading their official response in Discord, and once again, I'm calling this official, but it wasn't official. It was a Discord mod that is potentially community manager from Netherrealm trying to curb the panic. And honestly, I did not mean to start the panic, even though I admit my title and thumbnail on the previous video was a little bit clickbaity. I mean, that's just the name of the game. That's what you gotta do. But I still feel like I still stand by the things that I said in that video. It doesn't look good for MK Mobile. That reply that they made on Discord does not make things okay suddenly. There is still facts, undeniable facts, that 50 plus people were laid off from the mobile team. And of course, majority of them were working on Onslaught. It was a new game. It was still in development until a while ago. Like, it just fully got released, I think, a couple months ago or something like that. And they were pushing out lots of updates for that game. That was like their biggest bet. And that bet lost, so a lot of people got fired. But that doesn't bode well for MK Mobile. It doesn't mean that MK Mobile is gonna completely shut down and stop existing. I never implied that even in my original video. But losing so many people, and not just Onslaught people, there was a lot of people who came out with their messages after being fired that they were part of the team that worked on all of the games. So it's not realistic to assume that only people working on Onslaught got fired. A lot of people who were working on all of the mobile games got fired. And of course, there's still people left there. It's not like there is absolutely no one left. We clearly see the servers are running. Even people are still doing stuff because they just disabled the trials because of the bug where people could get unlimited rewards. It's now disabled. So there is somebody there doing the regular maintenance stuff. But it does sound like there is much less people left in Mortal Kombat headquarters. If you look at LinkedIn, there is lots of articles now popping up about the cost-cutting measures in Netherrealm. And when did cost-cutting bode well for the game? Cost-cutting can mean anything. It can mean that they're gonna double down on monetization and try to make potentially even undo all the good changes they were making to make the game a little bit more free-to-play friendly. Once again, not saying, just speculation. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if they are gonna try to cut costs, it might mean they laid off most of the MK Mobile team, which means the remaining people are now tasked with maintaining the game, potentially making new updates, maybe even releasing new characters, new towers. But the thing is, with 50 more people, they still had lots of bugs and issues in the game. It took them months to fix the smallest issues and even the game-breaking bugs. What is gonna happen with 50 people less in their team? Sure, they committed to full support, but what kind of support is it gonna be? How high quality is it going to be? Injustice God Among Us technically received full support even after they stopped releasing new content for the game. The entire mobile team at Netherrealm Studios got shut down, which is allegedly a big corp. The economy is gonna keep on going downhill if we consider previous and ongoing events. To be honest, the whole Warner Brothers company, not just their gaming division, is not doing so well right now, so they are desperately trying to cut costs. And they're not gonna care that some of the games have hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of fans, if it doesn't meet certain profit margins, it's gonna get shut down. It happened to Onslaught today. Where is the guarantee it's not gonna happen to MK Mobile after a couple of months if they're not gonna meet certain thresholds? Now, this article says that Netherrealm Studios has decided to exit the mobile gaming market. Now, how do you put this and then the community message saying that they are pledging full support to MK Mobile? Like, there was no official statement as far as I'm concerned from Netherrealm, and I would love for them to make one. So far, I've seen multiple articles saying that they reached out to Netherrealm to get more details and they got refused to receive any additional information, which does not look good. I'm not trying to spread panic. I'm not trying to spread misinformation. I'm just want to repeat once again, this is all pure speculation and just me going off the information I found online. None of this is 100%. Another interesting fact is that currently the Netherrealm has one job opening. So a lot of people said, what if they rehire the new team? Like they just make a new team for mobile. Well, there's one opening for the Netherrealm Studios, and it's a temporary position, 9 months temporary position for the QA, basically a tester. And we all know Mortal Kombat Mobile desperately need a good tester before the updates to make sure that there is no game-breaking bugs. Somehow, it turns out they used to have a QA team. Most of them got fired, but they used to have them, and I don't understand how having a whole team whose entire job is to make sure there's no bugs in the game before release and end up with like the buggiest game of all times. I've seen indie games that have like a handful of developers have less bugs in their games. It's ridiculous. Another very common comment that I've seen people say is that they all got sacked because they deserved it, because the game was terrible, super buggy, which means that the developers were not good, so that's why they got fired. Well, I don't know about that. I don't think that the game itself had problems. Like, it had bugs, but all the games have bugs. The main difference between MK Mobile and most other games is that when you release an update, you spend, like, you have some kind of a robust login system in the game. You catch all of the errors that occur when players start playing the game, because it's impossible. Even the best testing team will not be able to catch every single bug and error. But what you do is you put a lot of trackers in the game, a lot of logs, logging all of the errors, all of the exceptions. If your game crashes, it should send the exact line of code that caused the crashing back to the developers, and they can just read through all of the logs, see all of the errors, and then you fix them. Because most of them are going to be small, like literally couple lines of codes fixes. You fix all of the main issues, and then you release a patch immediately, literally a day or two after the update, fixing all of the issues. Most likely, 99% of the time, first day, you're gonna have full information about every single bug in the game, because when thousands of people start playing the game and you start collecting all of these errors, you will know what's wrong. You will be able to fix it and push out the patch immediately. The crazy thing is, they used to do it. We used to get patches days after the update before, fixing all of the bugs and to make sure that everybody has great experience for the rest of the update. And not doing those patches is not on developers. It's on the management, who basically says, once again, speculating, okay, update is done, you guys now work on a different project until it's time for the next update, and then you can fix all of the bugs and add the new content at the same time. Good developers are not developers that don't allow any bugs. Good developers are developers who can determine what exactly is broken and fix it. And not being able to do that is not their fault, it's whoever decides the schedule for those patches and updates. And also, I guess at the quality assurance team it's their fault because they didn't catch those bugs to begin with, which is their entire job. If you have a full-time job to play a game to try to find out the bugs, some of the bugs that we've been getting throughout the years are so obvious that literally playing the game for 15 minutes would show you the bugs. Like, it blows my mind how they had a whole team, and yet we still had some of the most simplest and most obvious bugs ever. Alright, so let's summarize. What is my current stance on this whole situation? Do I think MK Mobile is fine and we have bright future in front of us? I don't know. I don't think, no matter what messages we get from their community managers, they are motivated to not, for people not to know that anything bad is happening. Because if people get anxious, they might not spend as much money. Because if you knew that the game was going to shut down, or if the game was not going to get regular high-quality updates, you would be less likely to spend money. So it's in their interest to basically squash all of the panic and anxiety of the player base. And I'm not saying that my job is to do the opposite. I don't want to spread any panic among the community. I just want to make sure that you guys have your eyes open. Thankfully, I'm not the part of their ambassador team, so I'm free to say whatever I want, which is honestly a great thing. I would if they offered me to be ambassador, I would probably decline because I don't know. It seems like from what I've heard, there is a lot of restrictions they put on people, but I just trying to be as objective as possible. Does it mean that MK Mobile is shutting down? It doesn't look like it. Just gonna say it like it is. I don't think it's gonna get shut down. I don't think it's gonna like stop working. But I don't believe that there is not gonna be any repercussions from what just happened with all of the massive layoffs and all of the cost-cutting measures that they're implementing right now. I feel like we're gonna feel it one way or the other in MK Mobile. And even if the game is going to continue to run and exist, it might result in lower quality updates, maybe less updates, maybe we're not going to see any huge new features for a while. Once again, the only way to find out how it's going to affect the game is to just wait for the next updates and see what trajectory the game is going on. I'm not going to tell you not to spend any money. I'm not going to tell you not to play. In fact, I would say do play MK Mobile, because if they see that people start dropping off the game, it's going to increase the chances of the game closing. Just keep in mind that there is a chance, I don't know how big or how small it is, that MK Mobile might stop existing, or at least stop getting regular updates in the future. So once again, I will say what I've been saying even before this whole debacle, is that MK Mobile is the game best enjoyed as a free-to-play player. And I know that if everybody goes free-to-play, they will definitely have to close the game because nobody's going to be spending any money. But that's just how I feel. I do enjoy playing it on my free-to-play account way more than on my maxed-out account. And in fact, starting new accounts once you reach certain milestone is actually the most fun to play the game, in my opinion. And also, if you do spend money, also, like, it's not just the game shutting off. There is still an issue of unfair suspensions. There is still an issue of people getting their accounts reset. Like, even without all of these news, it would still be a smart idea to be aware of all the risks. This is just one additional risks on top of many risks we already had with MK Mobile. So I'm gonna be here while the game is still alive. I'm gonna keep you updated, and I'm gonna keep playing because I genuinely have fun, and I think the game is in a pretty good place right now. It's probably the most free-to-play friendly it's ever been, and from what I've seen, there is not many game-breaking bugs in this update. At least I haven't had the game crash on me yet, which is rare. Didn't have any freezes, didn't have any crashes. Let me know if you did, but I think it's doing good. I think it's doing good, and I hope that they will find a way to revive MK Mobile and to keep it going with high-quality updates, and everything is gonna have a happy ending. But I'm just not convinced that that's gonna happen right now. But I will keep you updated. Subscribe not to miss those updates, and let me know in the comments, how do you feel about MK Mobile and its future. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.